other projects as well. So let's move to our next topic. Okay. So in any of the industrial normal settings also, we always do bigger projects with collaborations. So many of the projects require multiple people to work together, which have their own set of skills, such as for a data science project, for example, we can imagine that there are multiple profiles for data science personnel, like somebody is collecting and pre-processing the data. Then somebody can perform good exploratory data analysis, and some people can perform model building. Then there will be somebody for testing and validation of the models and visualization. And finally, there will be a documentation person who will maintain all the records. So there will be a lot of people involved in this, in a big data science project or any project for that reason. So in such a scenario, what will happen if there's an initial project? Then everybody will be having his or her own copy of the project. They will be making changes in that copy. And finally, they will be collaborating with each other to accommodate changes of each other. But isn't this scenario problematic? Suppose there are 10 people working in a project. Then each one of them will have individual copies. So there will be 10 copies. Then each one of them will edit and perform their own task. But suppose some person has performed such a change which depends on or which impacts the change for another person. In that case, they will have to inform each other again and again. And this will be so much hectic that it will be very problematic to maintain the project. So what can be the solution of this? There should be some tool which should track all the changes performed and which should allow for collaboration with each other. So let's start our introduction. In such a scenario, we need a central location where our source code, documentation, and all the other files are present. It is a central location, central folder. Suppose it is hosted on a server, which can be a local server, or we can be hosting it on cloud or any other remote server. So such a folder is called a repository, which is a central location for all the source code. Then in that repository, if there is some mechanism that each one of them, the collaborators of that project, can fetch that repository and make some changes and inform the repository about the changes made. So there should be a tool which will track those changes, that each of the individuals have performed these changes. Person 1 has performed these changes, person 2 has performed these changes, but our central repository is intact right now. Now, if the changes of individuals are to be reflected in the repository, there should be somebody controlling it. So there comes version control system, which is a tool to manage changes in codes in a repository. So each one of them will, each of one of the collaborators will perform some changes, and version control system will keep track of those changes. So it will make the collaboration easier. Also, there will be lesser conflicts if the code changes of somebody is dependent on some other person's code changes, or if the code changes of some person impacts somebody others, some other person's code changes or document changes. So that is a version control system that enables the developers to collaborate with other developers to manage multiple versions of their code and track the history of their changes in the project development phase. So our topic today is GitHub. So GitHub and Git, we need to understand what are they. GitHub in the background uses Git. So what is Git? As we have discussed earlier, the version control system, Git is one of the version control systems. There are many version control systems. For example, you must have heard of SVN, and Git is currently the most popular one among them. So Git will allow you to keep track of the changes made in our project. There can be code changes or documentation or whatever changes. And it was created by Linus Torvalds. He needs no introduction, founder of Linux and Git both. And Git is an open source software. So GitHub is using Git, but Git itself is a command line software, command line tool utility, which is open source and it is free to use. So here is a download link of Git, gitscm.com downloads. So let's see. Here we'll go to gitscm.com downloads. So we are at this page. We can see there are options for Mac OS, Windows, Linux. For example, if your operating system is Windows, then we'll go to this link. And you can click here to download the 64-bit version. Other versions are available like 32-bit, 64-bit and all. So we'll click and the download will start. So it will take a few seconds to download. And as soon as it downloads, since it is Windows, we'll be having our automatic installer. We'll double click it and our installer will install the Git. So since I already have Git in my local system using this installer itself, so I will skip this process. I'm canceling it. But if you do not have, you let it download and use the installer to install the Git in your local system. And if you have 32-bit Windows setup, you can use this link. For other operating systems also, there will be links in this website, like Linux and Mac OS also have their Git versions. So let me close this download link. So when you download it completely, you double click it and installer will open. Then you install it using I have installed it using default options, which are the preferred ones if we do not know the nitty-gritty of the options. So we'll just use the default options and install them. So once we install it, we will be able to use it in our folders to track the changes. So let's see how it means, what it means. So let me go to command prompt. I have command prompt open. And now I will create a directory. Let's see if I already have dir Asia Connect. Yeah, I have already made it. So I'll just go to that directory, Asia Connect. So I want to make this as my folder, and whatever changes are made here should be reflected, should be tracked. So let's see what it means. First of all, we will start git init. This is command for initializing Git on a folder. That means you are allowing Git to track the changes in this folder. So we have initialized Git. Okay, so I may have already initialized it, but if you have not initialized it, it will show initialized Git repository in this folder with .git file name. So dot means it is a hidden file name. So in when you are using dir commands in Windows or ls command, it may not directly show up. Only it will show if you explicitly tell to show all the hidden files also. So .git is created. Now let me configure the Git with my username and email. So we have this command git config --global user.name and user.email for configurations. And this global option will set this username and email for all folders of Git for Git in our system. If you only use this username and email for our only single folder, then we can remove this global keyword. So let me keep it for now and configure it. Git config global username, user.name. Git config global user.name. I will use this as my username because that is part of my email ID. So I have set it. Similarly, I will set user email. You can set your own username and user email. So my Git is ready to use with identification of the author, username, and user email. I will skip this Git version. This is also handy if you want to check whether it is installed or which version of Git is installed. So let me type it also Git version to check which version of Git is running. So I am currently running 2.40.1.windows.1. So my Git is initialized and my username and email are set. Now to verify the tracking information, we use git status command. So let me first create a file here. So I'll create a file, edit, I can use as edit, case here connect, and I'll just use cd dot. cd dot can also be used in Windows to create a file. Case here connect git 1. I'll use this file name. Okay, let me use edit. Yeah, I'll use Notepad. Notepad or any editor, whichever you have, you can use. Here connect git 1. Any file name you can give. I'm giving this one. So I'm creating this file and I'm typing something that this is an example for Git file staging and commit. I'll discuss these terms later. Just for now, I have written one line and I'm saving it. I've saved it and I'll just close it. So if I use dir command, I see that there is Asia Connect Git 1 file already created. So for the purpose of Git, which files are being tracked? To check it, we'll use git status. we can see that we are in the branch master, it says. There are no commits yet, and there is an untracked file. We'll discuss these options one by one. What are the meaning of these sentences? And nothing added to commit, but untracked files present. Use git add to track. Okay. So first coming to the branch. So if there is some tracking going on, there is a branch associated with it. In the main folder, always it is called master branch, or it can be called main branch, howsoever you want to. Git has unlimited storage. Okay, there's one question: does Git have unlimited storage? So Git is different from GitHub. Git is a tool. So if you are asking, does GitHub have unlimited storage? So I don't think they will allow unlimited storage, but they have their other options, like you can buy. For now, you can practically there's unlimited storage for our purpose, because that is not used for storing other files like videos and all, which are taking a lot of space. So as long as you keep your GitHub open source, they will allow it, as far as I know. But please don't confuse Git with GitHub. Git is a tool used by GitHub, but Git can be used standalone also. So, okay. So coming back to our branch, so whenever there is a main folder, that can be termed as a main branch. And whenever somebody creates a copy of it, he or she branches it to some other branch. That means if I'm having main folder, person one wants to create a copy for their own editing. So they will create a branch. My changes will be master, changes will be in the master itself. Other changes will not directly be reflected in master. So any other branch, if somebody has created, so their own changes of those particular branches will not be reflected in the master branch. So there will be one branch running, which will always be kind of updated kind of thing, that is most updated for all the users. And they can branch out from that main branch, which can be called as master branch or main branch. And they can branch out their own folders from that, and they can make changes in their local copies in their own branches. To reflect those changes in master branches, there is other provision like staging, committing, and merging the branch with the main branch. So until and unless a branch is merged with main branch, it will be having its own changes which are not reflected in master branch. So master branch is the main branch from which we almost always want to branch out. If there's new person, he or she wants to contribute something into that project, a new branch will be created and master branch will not be disturbed. Then the changes which are made in the local branches or other branched versions, apart from the main branch or the master branch, they can be merged with somebody reviewing the merge. So in this way, there is a collaboration, that there will be always a master branch running, and others will branch out their own versions and make changes and request to accommodate those changes in the master branch after their changes are complete. So those requests are called pull requests. We'll see those further also. So that is branch. So the name of main branch is normally master or main, or there can be some other names which are configured, but they should not be confused with other branches which are not the main branches. There are no commits yet. That means since the last change, there's no change made or registered in our Git. So Git is not tracking anything after the last change. Since this is our first tracking, so there's no last change, so there's no commit yet. And it shows that there is one untracked file. That means Git knows that there's one file present with the name Asia Connect underscore Git underscore one, but it is not being tracked by Git. Any changes made to this will not be tracked until and unless we explicitly say Git to track it. So it shows that nothing added to the commit, but untracked files present. Use git add to track. So we'll do the same. Suppose we want to track this Asia Connect. So whatever changes made should be tracked by Git. So we'll use git add, git add and our file name. We have added this. So adding a file for tracking by Git is termed as staging. So what we do, we make changes in the files. We get satisfied that this is the number of changes which we have to make for now. After that phase, when we are assured that this is the change which we want to tell Git to track, so then we will stage it, that it is ready to be committed. Staging is a phase that it is ready to be committed. So we'll use git add for that staging. So our file is staged. So let's again check the git status. Git status. So now we see that we are on branch master definitely because we have not branched out anything else. Whenever we start our git tracking with git init, we are on branch master or main according to the configuration of the main branch name. So we are on branch master right now. There's no commit and there are changes to be committed. That means there is a file being tracked, but it is not committed. So it is not added to the main master branch. So to add them to the master branch, we will commit those changes. For committing changes, the command is git commit with the message -m. So let's do that. Git commit. We'll commit the changes made in this file, Asia Connect Git 1. Git commit. So we do not need to give the file name here. So all the staged files will be committed together. So let me write here a message. So this message will indicate what change was made in this commit. Okay. So software developer should always place such messages that when somebody visits the history or log, he or she should be able to understand what was done in this commit. So I write the message added git example file Asia Connect underscore git underscore 1. So this is the message I have added and I'll commit it. So it says that in master, there is a hash code of 7 digits that is unique for each commit. So a commit is identified by this hash. Master added git example file Asia Connect git 1. This is our message which we have added. So one file has been changed and that is an insertion. Insertion denoted by plus, deletion by minus. So this is done. We have added a file, started git, added a file, staged that file using git add and committed that all the changes done till then. And we have finally committed. So let's move further. To check what changes has been done, we can use git log. So let's check the history. What changes have we done till now? Git log. So it shows the history that by this author, which we have already given in our global configuration, this author name and this email we have given in our configuration with date and time and our message added git example. So this is our git log. So we can also summarize this log. So for example, there are multiple commits, one after the other. They will all be shown in 4 or 5 lines. If we want to show them only in single line for each commit, we'll use git log one line. We see that this is the hash, the same hash which we have seen during our commit. This is 6A4EE61. And this is our commit. Same, it is the same hash. So a one line log is represented by a hash and the message. So I hope this is clear till now. So let's add one more branch and we will do some changes in that branch. So to check what branches are available with us right now, let's see the chat. What is the chat? Sir, as you created Git repository, what type of data it stores? So Git repository can store any kind of data, your codes, your any other type of files. Directory also using the same thing. Yes, directory is also using the same thing for now, but directory does not track changes. So now after I explain what is branching and how it has tracked the changes, then it will be clear what is the difference between the directory thing and our repository. Okay, it is being asked. The question is, what is commit? I have to explain. Okay, so as we have seen, we have added some files and we have done multiple changes, suppose 5, 10, 20 changes. And one by one, we stage them. That is, we add those files. So till addition, they are not tracked. We have added to be committed. After the commit, all the previous staging changes are tracked using Git. So commit is used to add all the staging changes together for our Git to track them. So until and unless we commit, the changes will not be tracked. They will be just be ready for commit. So commit is the stage in which we tell our Git that in our folder we have made changes, but you were not tracking these changes. So from this point, when I'm committing, you should track the previous changes. So after commit, if there are some changes, they will not be tracked until they are increase the font size. I'll try Control plus. I hope it is visible. Font size is visible, or I need to increase more. Okay. So after the commit, until if there are some changes, they will not be tracked until and unless we stage them again and commit them again. So commit is a checkpoint kind of thing, that till this point you have to track my changes. So I hope it is clear. So I'll move ahead. So I'll now explain what is branching. After that, it will be very clear, I guess. So first of all, we'll see what branches are available right now. Git branch. Currently, there is a master branch and there's a star before that. A star means that this branch is currently being used. So since there is only one branch right now, so that is only visible, but we will create one more branch. So there's some questions. What is the main reason going for Git? So Git is for version control, version tracking the changes and collaborating for that. When we explain master, it will be quite clear. So if I'm right, mobile banking app, they keep changing the versions with the new features that this Git sort of software is used by developers. Yes, it may be used. In industry, as far as I know, yes, they use this Git, either GitHub or Bitbucket or the direct this Git tool. They use this to keep track of changes and collaborate with each other. Not only mobile banking, any kind of software development. If there are version changes or there are some changes to be made, they track this using Git. I hope that answers the question. So since there's only one branch right now, let's try to create another branch and make some changes in that. How is Git going to help in data science? So data science is a very, very collaborative field. I have just shown earlier that there are multiple people involved. Somebody is doing visualization, somebody is doing modeling, more than one people are doing modeling and changes on the codes. So if the same code is being changed by multiple people, there will be conflicts that it should be change done by person one or person two or both. So those conflicts will be resolved easily with this Git tool. Even in data science or any software development. Data science is also very collaborative. We have visualization people, we have documentation people, we have modeling people, we have data cleaning people. So all have to collaborate. So that collaboration is and changes are tracked using Git. Whether we can use this keep track changes in cloud computing like AWS, Google Cloud. Yes, we can use this to keep changes in cloud computing, files in cloud. They have their own versions of Git. So if we have cloud like Google Cloud, then why should we need Git? Cloud is different concept. Cloud is hosting something remotely, and Git is tracking versions. They are different things. Cloud may use Git, but they are totally different things. So in Google Colab, can we track changes? There are options to track changes. They might be using some form of Git or something, but definitely some kind of version control they are using. So Git is one of the examples of version control. How much amount of data we can track in changes? Ample amount means for any project, you can, if there are codes and text, you can easily track changes. That is not meant for video hosting like YouTube, but if there are code changes, file changes, it can easily be tracked. So we do not need to worry about the amount of data. For our need, whatever this that will be, it will be done. This can be applicable for data center. And I didn't get your question, sir. No, sir. Okay, let's move for a little while to branching, and I'll come back to the questions. So let's create another branch. Right now we have only a single branch, master. We'll create a branch using Git branch. Asia Connect Git tutorial, ACGT. We are creating this Git branch. So now if we check branches, we'll see that there are more than one branch, Git branch. We can see there are two branches, ACGT and master. But the asterisk before master shows that currently the master is the one which we are using. So let's go to another branch and make some changes. Then it will be clear what is version control and what is tracking changes. So to go to another branch, we use the checkout command. Git checkout ACGT. We have switched to branch ACGT, and let's check git branch again. Now asterisk is before ACGT, that means currently we are at ACGT. So suppose there is one main folder and somebody comes and he or she wants to add his or her own code in that, and they create a branch ACGT, so they get their own copy of that folder, of Asia Connect folder. So now they will have their own folder and they will try to make some changes. So let me make changes, notepad, data clean.py. We'll create this file. So data fetch. Suppose we are creating example course, fetch data and fetch data it is using something, add code snippet here. Add code snippet. So we have made some changes in data clean. So there's one more person who has come and he has created his own branch ACGT and added his own file with name dataclean.py. We are saving it. So what has happened here? If it was a normal folder, the newly created file will be in this folder like this. dir we do. We have Asia Connect Git1 and dataclean.py. But what Git is doing, we have branched out from master branch. So the change made will be reflected only in the current branch. Until and unless we explicitly say to reflect the changes in the master branch, it will be done in the current branch. So let's check git status. So in this branch, there's one untracked file on branch ACGT. There's dataclean.py. So let's stage it and commit it. So we can do that by git add dataclean.py, then git commit with the message. But we can, okay, let me do that. Git add dataclean.py. It is adding. Now I'm committing these changes. Git commit with the message added data clean.py code. So this is the message, and it has its own unique hash with this branch. Now we check the git status. We see that there's no commit remaining, nothing to commit. Working tree is clean. That means all the untracked changes are staged and all the staged changes have been committed. So now we are using dir here to check. We have two files here, but do you think these changes will be reflected in our master branch? I say no. Guess your own answers and we'll check what happens. Since we have branched out from that, Git is tracking that, Data clean.py is present in ACGT branch, but not in master branch. So let's go there and check git check out master. And now if I do dir, I only have one file. I do not have data clean.py. So I hope this clears the doubt. What does that do apart from what a directory structure does? There are two versions of this folder. Okay. One is with the branch master and other is with the branch ACGT. Currently, the changes of ACGT are not reflected in master. Can we track changes in Git in data center? Yes, we can change. Okay. So let's move further. Now we have made some changes and we want to merge those changes. So we'll see how we do that. We'll use the git merge command and the name of the branch is ACGT. So this ACGT will be merged with master because currently we are in master. We have checked out to master. So currently we are in this master. So git merge ACGT will merge ACGT with master. So this is it. What has happened? Updating fast forward data clean.py is added. One file changed, 8 insertions created more this data clean.py. So now, since I have merged the branched out branch ACGT, so now the changes will be reflected. So what has happened? There's one central repository, master. Somebody has come, created his or own version, made changes. Now, when they are satisfied that there are changes made, they want to commit it. And after that, the version can be controlled in this way. That in the master branch, they can be merged. The changes made by ACGT branch can be merged in the master branch using git merge command. So now guess whether the changes will be reflected. I am voting for yes. So let's check with dir command. I hope data clean.py will be included this time. So yes, it is included. Now the purpose of our ACGT is complete, so we'll delete a branch. So how to delete a branch? Again, we'll use git branch command with -d for delete and the name of the branch. Deleted branch. Now if we check git branch, there will be again only a single branch because ACGT is deleted. So there's only master branch. We'll again check the git log, what changes have been made. So this is the log, example file has been added, first change, and second change is this added data clean.py code, the message which I had given. So if we want this in single line, we'll do one line. There's hash, and this message shows head to master. So whatever was our branch that has been merged to master, it is shown. So it has tracked the changes as far as now. So somebody has come, he or she has made his own version, her own version, and after they are satisfied, they are merging that to the master branch. So now there's again one single version after merge. Can we work on both branches parallel? Yes, we can work on both branches parallel, but there should be one, means the whole point of version tracking is that ultimately we want one software, one working software. So we can work on both branches parallel, but ultimately we have to merge them to accommodate the changes. So instead of copying and pasting from one to another, the Git will do our job. So if both branches are working in parallel, also there can be case that the same changes will be, same file will be changed in different branches. In that case, there can be conflicts, and those conflicts need to be resolved. So if I get time in this session, I will cover that also. But let me move to GitHub for now, because that is very useful on day-to-day basis. If I get time, I'll explain how to resolve the conflicts. The recording of the session. Please find the link shared by Asia Connect team. So you will get my taking in deadlock. Yes, so deadlock, I hope you are talking about the conflicts. So those conflicts can be resolved manually by somebody. So ultimately, some manual intervention is required, because if two people are saying two different things, there should be one mediator. So if there are single file being changed in two branches, then there will be a git diff command using which you can track the changes also, which are being which lines are different in those two versions. So when the both are being merged, those need to be resolved. Okay, so let me move to this again. So branching and merging, I have explained. We have branched out a different branch and we have merged our changed branch to our master branch. So a new version was created. And versions we can add in that message also, that version 2 is created, version 3 is created after each update. So now coming to our topic GitHub. Till now we have seen Git. So Git is a tool for version control, whereas GitHub is a web-based hosting service. Like YouTube is a hosting service for hosting videos. GitHub is a hosting service for hosting Git repositories. So Git is the tool, which is the main software, and GitHub is providing the space for hosting those repositories. So, but GitHub also provides some add-ons like collaboration, code review, raising issue and all. So they provide their own add-ons, but in the background, they use Git itself. So it is currently acquired by Microsoft, this GitHub, and Git is, we have seen that it was developed by Linus Torvalds and now being managed by somebody else, but original big name is Linus Torvalds, who is the founder of Linux also. And GitHub is by Microsoft. So Git is the backbone software. GitHub is a hosting service for Git repositories. So original Git version control is performed by Git tool in the GitHub itself. Git can be used independently, that we have seen right now. But GitHub is useful because it provides additional features like project management tools, code review, issue tracking, etc. Git, as we have seen, is command line utility, whereas GitHub is a GUI interface in the web. So how to manage a data science project using GitHub? So whatever we have discussed till now in Git, the same things can be done in GitHub. As we know that the background version control system is Git itself. So in GitHub also we can create a repository. We can organize our file structure and all. We can use version control. We can create branches and collaborate, track issues and resolve the conflicts and add the documentation. So please zoom out your screen. So there's something being not seen. Zoom out means I should make it smaller. Okay. Okay, so let's move to GitHub. So when you open GitHub, let's go to incognito because their mine is signed in, github.com. It will open some interface like this. If you are new to GitHub, you will sign up, create an account, or sign in using your own Git and all, own mail ID and all. And if you have already signed up, you will use your username and password to sign in. Since I already have a GitHub account, assume that I have signed in. And if you don't have, you just use your username and password using sign up and then sign in again. So after signing in, it looks something like this. Okay, so here what we see that this is an interface. Now, if we want to create a new repository, we can go to this drop down in the top right of GitHub right now, and we can create new repository. There are other options like importing organization projects also, but like we have seen in Git init, we will use new repository. So let's name it Asia Connect. So I am the owner, my username / Asia Connect as the repository name, and I'm keeping it public. You can keep it private also if you want that no one else should see your files as a repository, then you can keep it private. So I will add a README file here that will be reflected in the front page of your GitHub repository. And we can also use license. In open source softwares, you should have seen that this is using GNU license, this is using MIT license. So these are all open source licenses. So let me use some license. I'll use GNU General Public License. So these licenses may mean different things, but ultimately these have a crux that these codes can be reused without permission and all. So you are allowing the license allowing the code to be reused. So I'll click on create repository and my repository will be created. So there's an Asia Connect README. I can edit it. So GitHub also provides the editor. Like we use Notepad there. Here we have GitHub's own editor. It is an example README file for Asia Connect CDP. So I'm using these files, documents, but you can use codes and everything else like images and all. So here are options to commit changes. If we click on this, it is saying that commit directly to the main branch or create a new branch. So for now, I will just commit directly to the main branch. So this will be reflected in the main branch in the same version. I'll commit changes and add message. First commit in this repo. For now, I'll commit these changes. So going to my code, I have this updated. Okay. So, okay. Now what will happen? These changes are reflected in this GitHub repo. And the branching which we have seen in Git can also be done here. We will create a branch like new ACGT GitHub. This is our branch name. Let's click on create branch, this one, and it will create this. So from here, we can check out to one branch or other. We can click on main or we can click on ACGT to move to a particular branch. Okay. Very small, not visible. Let me zoom it. Oh, sorry. Here I will zoom it. I hope now it is visible. I will explain it again. So from here, you created a new repository and gave the name. You can go to GitHub and, okay, I'll just explain again. I created a new repository and I gave the name Asia Connect here and added one README file like this. And I have chosen the license, GNU General Public, and clicked on Create Repository. By that, a repository was created with the name Asia Connect. So this is my repository. And I have edited this using this option, the pencil icon, and I added this line. After adding this line, I have used commit changes because now there are no changes. It is saying it is disabled, but earlier I have added this line. So using commit changes, I have updated these changes. That was all. After that, I created a new branch. So for new branch, we can go to this icon here, branch icon. Here it is written main. So currently we are in main branch. So we can create another branch by like new branch. We just write the name and there will be one option coming, create branch, new branch from main. Since I already have ACGT branch, so I just clicked on that option and this branch was created. So for checking out to one branch or another, we can simply use this drop-down menu. Currently we are in main, we'll move to ACGT branch. Now it shows new ACGT GH. Again, moving to main, we can do this like this. I hope that is clear. In GitHub, say any software code like LaTeX or Python done in Colab can be shared, sir. Yes, it can be shared. Even from in Colab itself, you can use GitHub repos, cloning and all. I'll explain what is cloning. And you can use git clone to clone your GitHub repos to Colab also. So if you make repository public, is repository very secure or only authorized party has right to commit changes? Okay, so only the person owning the repository will be able to commit the changes. You can have a public repository which others can view and create their own copies of those repositories. And they can make changes in those copies. After that, they can request to accommodate those changes using a pull request. But until and unless the author does not accept those pull requests, the changes will not be made. For example, we use git merge, but there we were the sole author, so we merged ourselves. So let me show you by an example. If this is main, I'm going to ACGT branch and I'm adding a file, create new file. This file has been added in new ACGT GH branch. So I am in ACGT, new ACGT GH, it is showing, and I'll name it ACGT file. So this is not in the main branch, it is in ACGT GH. I'll commit changes, new file added in new ACGT GH branch. So I'm committing to the my own branch right now, not creating a new branch, just committing to my own branch. I'll commit the changes. So now we are here in ACGT branch and it is showing one information that this branch is one commit ahead of main, right? So what we'll do, if we want to merge these changes to main, we'll move to main. And we will compare and pull request. Option is itself available. So we see the changes. This is the message and this is the file. We are creating pull requests for someone to review it. So pull request has been added, we can see. And this is for here for review. We can add different rules for review. Like it should require the pull request. So many options are available to protect our review. So I'll again go to this pull request option and open this pull request, which was created by ACGT branch. And now I will merge this because I am the sole author. Nobody else is involved, so I am allowed to merge it. So let me merge it and I'll confirm the merge. And after this, merge will be complete. So now the changes will be also reflected in ACGT branch. And since those branches are merged, I can delete this ACGT first. So I'll go to the code and check the main branch. This file is added. Now, what happens? There's one more option, fork. Since I'm the owner of this project, I cannot fork it. But suppose there's another GitHub link. Let's search for one GitHub. GitHub vision transformer, suppose. So how to reuse code we are seeing. So let's search for some GitHub project and add them to our own repo to make changes. So here the fork option is enabled. That means we can fork it to our own repository. I'm clicking on fork and owner is this, repository name is Vision Transformer. I'll create fork. So when I go to my GitHub account, it will add this repository to my account. After that, if I make some changes, like in README, if I edit it using the pencil icon, I will add changes in fork. So kindly notice that this was forked from somebody else. This Vision Transformer was not owned by me, but I have forked it from somebody else's account to my account. Now I have made changes and I am committing changes. Change in forked report. Okay, I am committing those changes. Now I have to create a pull request. So I'll go to the main branch, I'll go to the code. And we see that this branch is one commit ahead of Google Research main. So it was owned by Google Research. So I'll go to this option, one commit ahead, and see what is the commit ahead. So I have changed this line, changes in fork. So in order to accommodate those changes, I have to create a pull request. If I click on here, it will be reflected in this Google Research folder. But I don't want that to create clutter on the folder. This is just an example. So I'll not create this pull request, but earlier I was able to merge those pull requests and handle those pull requests. But right now I will not be able to merge. I will only be able to create, and that will be reflected in Google Research folder. And the person owning Google Research folder will be able to merge that. Okay, so coming back. Now, suppose we have we have a folder in our repository and we want to copy that to our own local folder. Suppose there's Asia Connect here. So what I will do, we can see here a code drop down and then there are some links, HTTPS SSH and GitHub CLI. So if we are using HTTP, we can just click this, copy this link and go to our folder. Let me move out from, okay, this is also named Asia Connect. So don't be confused. Within this, another Asia Connect can be created. That is not an issue. So I'll use git pull command for that. Git pull and paste the link. So if I press enter, the folder which we have made in that GitHub will be copied here. So this same command can be used in our Google Colab. By using git pull and link, we can copy all the content from another repository to our Colab folder. So let me dir okay, Asia Connect, directory of the user Asia Connect to this one. Two files and two directories are there, but that directory is not being reflected. Maybe due to the same folder name. I'll just exit and create mkdir Asia Connect 2 init git git user dot name Ashutosh git global it is git config, okay, git config user dot name and git config user dot email. Ashutosh Tripathi So now I'll use git init to initialize it and use git pull control V here. So using dir, okay, I have used dir and accidentally it has been copied from my original Ashutosh folder. I had not cd'd to it. So anyways, we can find our files like ACGT file is also here. Asia Connect 2 is here, but we have not cd'd to that. So this is our newly created folder at 610. So 610 ACGT file is added. So anyway, that has worked. Okay, so we can use git clone to copy. 48 is what survived in 48 is what in ACGT. Those are sizes and all. They are part of your directory structure. They may be different things like for other. That is not related to Git. That may be number of bytes or something. Okay, I'll again cd to Asia Connect. cd to Asia Connect. I'll just show once again cd to Asia Connect 2, I think it was. And I'll use git clone control V. Now it should clone in, okay, now it should clone in the same folder. cloning in this. I'm in Asia Connect folder. I'll use dir to check what are the content. So I have this Asia Connect folder. Within this, cd Asia Connect and dir again the internal folder. These are the same files which were in our GitHub repo. So from the GitHub repo, they are in our local folder now. Now suppose we are having a local folder and we want to copy that to our GitHub repo. So let's do that also. Suppose I will use another folder, our previous folder, cd Asia Connect. This was our previous folder. So I want that the contents of this should be reflected in our GitHub. It has Asia Connect Git1 and data clean.py, which we created earlier. Okay. So let's use that. I'll use git remote add origin and my GitHub URL for that. So go to GitHub and let me create one repository. New repository. Let's name it pull from local. Just naming it and adding some no need to add license and all. I'll just create a repository for now. And let's check. We want to go to pull from local. Go to repositories, pull from local. And I'll just copy this link. This link will be used to upload my local Git report to GitHub. So git remote add origin, and I'll just paste the link. So now origin is the name of the branch which is in the remote destination, that is our GitHub. So now to upload that, we'll use this command. Upload our local folder to GitHub, we'll use git push set upstream origin master. Let me use git push. So we are pushing the contents in our local repo to this GitHub folder. Git push set upstream origin master. So this I'm doing in local system, and I want that this should be reflected in my GitHub repository. So since it is making changes in the remote repository, it is asking for sign in. I'll sign in with the code. So let me use this option. And there's this code 3D7E. This is just authentication that somebody is trying to add something in this GitHub repo. Does the GitHub repo owner want to allow that? I'll go to the repository. It is not honoring this pull request. Okay, this is the code, and I'll go to login device. And here I'll just use It is asking me to sign in. I already have signed in, but not in this one. So let me sign in here. And it is asking for the same code. I've entered the code that yes, I want to authorize somebody with this code to upload files in this folder. Okay, I'm authorizing it, Git ecosystem. Okay. So it's just trying to upload the local contents into my GitHub repo. Now I'll just check what the contents are present in local. So we can see that Asia Connect Git1 and dataclean.py have been uploaded in this newly created repo. So we have been able to change something in remote repository in GitHub from our local system. Now one more thing to tell you. Now these both branches are synced, but let's make some change in this. The file contents are shown as, this is an example of git file commit. Let's go to the code, open it, and let's try to edit it. So I'll edit in the remote repo that example for pull. I'll just commit these changes. And go to the main folder. And check the file content, what it is. Example for pull has been added. So here why use clone instead of fork? Please share this source link. Clone instead of fork. Oh, okay. So clone is for copying the content to your own drive or something. It may be collab or whatever. Fork is for creating a folder in GitHub itself. So clone cannot be used to create a repository copy in GitHub. For that, fork will be used. Okay. So I have changed Asia Connect Git1 now, and I'll go to my local and check whether the changes are reflected in that or not. So I'll go to a notepad. Asia Connect Git1. So changes are not reflected here because they are in the remote repo. So in order to update those changes, we need the update from remote branch to our local branch. So we need to pull something from GitHub. So we will use that pull command for that. Let's use git pull and check whether it is working. So we have used git pull, and since our origin was set already, so it has unpacked object from this GitHub repo, Ashu111 pull from local. And since there was some change, so it has been done here. So let's again check our file, notepad. So the second line should be reflected here. Yes, example for pull which we added in our GitHub repo file has now been reflected in our local file also. So pull is a combination of two different commands that are fetch and merge. Merge you already know, and fetch is something used to check, used to track what changes from our main branch are there which have not been reflected in our local branch. So you can use individually git fetch and git merge. And also we can use directly git pull, which is a combination of fetch and merge. Somebody is asking for participant. Okay. So I hope this answers most of the things. There are a lot to discuss even now, but I don't think the time will permit to discuss any new topic within this. Yeah, issues I can discuss. So GitHub allows you to create some issues. Suppose you have found some problems, but you are not the contributor for that particular code or whatever content in that. For example, there's code to prove process and it is not pre-processing correctly for some sample. But you are not the person responsible for for changing the pre-processing. Somebody else is authorized for that. So you will create the new issue here and you will write that pre-process bug, and you will explain in detailed report where pre-process is failing. It is just an example. So you give the scenario, how it is failing, or what is the issue you are facing in some repo, and you will submit new issue. So what will happen? It will be reflected in issues. And this is open for addressing. So now the person responsible for that particular issue will open this, and he or she will be able to check what is the issue. And after changing that, he or she can leave the comment that this issue has been addressed. Issue has been addressed. Or you can also answer that use this method to address your issue. Either it can be addressed by the responsible person or a way around can be provided. So this is the use of issues, that you can mention what problem you are facing. And the issue can be closed. Currently, there is issue 1 open. After the resolution is done, you can close with this comment. And now the issues 1 has been disappeared. So this counter will only show the currently open issues. Then pull request can be seen from here: projects, wiki, security, insights, settings. So it is open for exploration. Till now, if anybody wants to clarify something, please ask it. I think it will not be wise to discuss anything else now. So I hope it was clear and informative to you all. Okay, thank you, Deepti ma'am. Thank you, everyone. I think I was able to deliver the topics. Let's see what has been remaining. These all things, yeah, forking I have explained. So from start, we have discussed these things. We have covered why we need version control, what is Git, how it is different from GitHub and all, and some commands of Git that are the backbone. And then GitHub using the backbone as Git, and interaction of GitHub with our local system. forking, pulling, and all, and cloning also. These things we have discussed. So I think this will be useful for managing your GitHub.